Hey, thank you for watching this video. If you like the content, please give me a thumbs up and subscribe to my YouTube channel. And also please check out my new online learning platform, designupgrade.thinkofic.com. For more information, check out the end of the video or watch the promotion video in the playlist. And now have fun with the tutorial. Okay, so we're going to change into hidden lines because we're going to draw the bridge that's actually above the courtyard and we can't really see it actually, but we want to still display where it begins. Now it's actually quite nicely done by Tadao, I have to say. The bridge is exactly the frame size that we have drawn for our doors, so I can just literally do a rectangle without any other feature and draw the rectangle from frame to frame. That is more or less the basic concept of that bridge. Now we also have on the sides, we have that balustrade which is made of concrete, so we have to give an offset to that of 15 centimeters. What that means is I'm going to quickly just explode my rectangle. With Control, just select that or unselect that I don't want to delete. So I delete those sidelines. And now I'm going to take that and just move it by 0.15, 15 centimeters. This one again, but this time I'm going to say minus 0.15 to be super precise. And that will offset that basically in that direction. Now, you can already see that there's a little bit of detailing that we have to do quickly, is that, of course, this line should not go into the wall. And on this side, we actually have, if I do my smart track, we also have here a detail which looks something like this. So you have a concrete flooring there above, which you can't see from here. So I'm just going to quickly say trim and trim off that information, so we have this kind of detail, and this is on both sides, that is. So I'm just going to copy that, mirror it from my symmetry line here, and just going to say trim, and that is in a nutshell my bridge on top. And now also we have to give a small detail here, which is in basically this kind of detail here. So we see that this is actually the podest that we walk on to that. Okay, very good. That's already helping us quite a bit. Now I quickly want to show you something with the hidden lines, and that is actually that we want to make that a little bit more suggestive. Yeah. So what I want to do is I actually want to go to options, bring up the window, and then you can see by line types, you can actually create your own line type. Now the hidden lines here, I don't like them that much. They're too dense. They're too small in that sense because I can't really show that what I want to show. So I go to hidden and I check out what kind of scale it is, and the pattern is quite small, so it's 2 by 2 millimeters right now. And I could now just do add. I could create my own one, and I say I want to have a hidden also, and I say hidden 0.1, and that I want to give a pattern. Actually you want to say 10, 10. This is the way to write it down, and you can already see in the preview how it actually looks. I say OK, and what I could do now, I go to hidden and I actually say hidden 1, and you can see already that it is a little bit more differentiated than the one that I had before. Now I could again do options and say, okay, it's still not enough. Actually, I want that to be, let's say 40 to 40. Say OK, and set my to hidden 1, and now you can see it's a little better visually. That's it actually. No, it's just visually a little bit more prominent that it's a dashed line. So that is quite good. So we learned that, and now let's continue on just basically quickly with the entrance situation and the bathroom situation, and then we're done with the floor plan number 1. Then we're going to quickly model up number 2, and then that's it for this first tutorial, and then we're going to continue up with the section, 3D modeling, rendering, whatever you like. So we will now transition more or less to the living room, and we just want to model up the entrance situation. Now the entrance situation is really a nice feature, I have to say, that in a nutshell it's actually an open entrance, so there's like a hole that still belongs to the outside, you would say, and then there's a wall partition, a door, and a glass wall partition. So again, this is a little bit abstract, so let me just draw it quickly together. We're going to take a rectangle. I'm going to go to my thick lines, just make sure. And I will use this guidelines again to start to draw this wall, actually, that is a little bit more shifted inside. I'm going to take my center, just type in C, and start my wall. And I can just type in 0.15 for the thickness. and I'm going to say 1.35 for the overall length of this wall partition. And this one will be shifted inside to my living room by 1 meter, and that is the space that is kind of still belonging to the outside. And I want to take my hidden lines and just more or less show that actually there's an opening. Yeah. And another nice feature is, if I go to thin lines, is that there's actually a step. Now we're just going to quickly model up that step. Just take that and scale it by, let's take 0.23. We will correct that later on just to place it already there. And now what is very nice is actually that you have a glass partition here and a door entrance here. Now we can again just try to copy our door here quickly to be more efficient. And I'm going to do it actually the same way. So I'm going to rotate that now, say minus 90. And we have to again scale this guy up. We could create a new block that would be more efficient. So let me actually just do that now. So actually, let me just explode it quickly. Explode, I go to my doors here, to the layer, and I just scale or take the pawn and move them. That's something I have to do anyway again, so I just delete that. I take that point, I put it here, I take this, I rotate this, I make a copy from here to here, and then we have to see, let me quickly check actually which direction this is going, the other direction of course. So I'm going to go back here and just move this guy here and do an arc. Starting from here, there, there. Now this again should go to my hidden lines here. And I'm going to select everything, do block, and select that block, say to the larger door, or entrance door, yeah, that's actually the best. Entrance door, and that's it. Let's just be quick here. And again, a glass partition. Now there are different kind of plans. One suggests that you have this basically flush to that wall end. Others suggest that this is actually quite more or less centered. Let's say if I would draw a line from here to the end here. Some would say that this is actually defined like so. This is up to you. You can place it how you want that now to be. You can check that again. If I would go to here, to my plans, you can see it's actually shifted a little bit inside. The main, of course, the drawing that I'm referencing here actually suggests that it is here. But I mean, it's a detail, right? So we shouldn't get hung up on that too much. So I'm going to copy my glass wall here and just going to do the same thing. So I'm going to rotate that from here and delete my copy, which I did weirdly, and just put it here. And again, I have to do a new block. This one is actually quite simple, so I'm just going to do it again. So, I mean, you know, more effort, I would agree. But as soon as you draw with as soon as you have some more larger floor plans and you use this block method, it makes sense and it is really worth the extra time. So I would just say block again, quickly hit that, say to the entrance glass wall. Okay, that's fine, super cool. We have that more or less done. Another nice feature is actually that Tadao has planned like a little opening shaft, I would say, a little light shaft where the light actually drips to the entrance, which gives you like this holy kind of moment when you walk inside there and there's a light well coming to you. And that's something we want to draw, so I just go to hidden lines and I draw my rectangle here. This time I can again use the center point here and say that, or again use center as a method, center, and then I say 0.45, enter, and I say 0.9, and that is my light well, and I just move it precisely to flush with the wall here. And now of course I want to show that this is actually opening, so I just give it this cross, which always indicates that this guy is actually, that you can see it on the up, if you look up, basically. There's a correct word for that, but I don't know right now what that is. That's actually the entrance situation. Now there is this detail that you can also draw, which is that there is supposed to be a concrete bench which is built in. So what I'm going to do with that is I'm going to type in 3.2, enter, and I'm going to say 0.4, and that is just suggesting that there is this concrete bench element also there. Okay, that's the entrance. Actually quite good. We are good on the time, and now we can just do the last detail here on the floor plan, and then we will move up to the second floor plan. Okay, so quite simple. There is a bathroom and there's a wall partition that is actually here also. What we want to do for that is just create the situation quickly. Okay, so let's start with the bathroom less detail. Again, quite simple actually. We will take this door, copy it to wherever, and we're just going to mirror it because it's actually going in the other direction. And what we're going to do is actually just quickly put it somewhere here and move this guy on the end to here. Yeah, that is how the door is placed in this section. And now we want to just quickly draw a rectangle from that point here. Now it's a little bit hard to actually get that, and put it here. So that's my wall and that's my door, and I want to just quickly move them minus 1.65. That's the detail. That is it. And I'm going to put this guy, of course, on my thick layer here. And of course, I could do a curve boolean now, which I'm going to do actually. Curve boolean to join those two partitions. Select the curves. I do. I get this. I get this. I press enter. I say lock. I say take that, delete that, and I say unlock. And now I have this beautiful line here. Just put it with thick lines, not thin lines, like I did so. And there you go. That's the one detail that was missing. Basically, the kitchen is placed here and the bathroom is here. Now we have a beautiful first floor plan. Congratulations. Now what we can do is actually continue on with the second level. Now you see that what happened? Sorry, I just have to copy that. That just sometimes happens and it's super frustrating if you have just done it like me, not copying that. So I'm just gonna do that. Always copy your instances, otherwise you will have that. Now we could save. You should probably save till now. So I'm just gonna save it. I'm going to call it Azuma House. And I'm gonna say part 1 tutorial. You can call it whatever and just save it. So you have it. No, if you delete it now, you have just spent 1 hour for nothing, which happens sometimes and it's very frustrating. But in a nutshell, there you go. So that is your first level. Now we're just gonna make a copy of that. And we're gonna copy that, in my case, 5 meters up. So now we want to look at the second floor, right? And we can already see here that it's a little bit different than the first floor. So if I just put this guy here, you can see that if I go up here, I have actually my 4 windows here. I also have those windows here. I have no bathroom situation. I have another light well here, which is actually defined as a geometry. And I have no walls on this side. It's actually glass partitions, as you can see here. And what I'm going to do now for this is I'm going to quickly bring in 2 more images. So I'm going to go to my reference image here, and I'm going to say picture. And this images you can also find. I'm going to bring in this guy, this section, so we can see that a little bit better. And I will put it up because it's been blocked. And I'm going to also say picture and bring in some detail like this here, so we understand how we have to model up the second floor a little bit better, because you can see that the wall partitions have this detail here which we want to include. And you can also see that the door itself is quite heavy as a frame, you know what I mean? So that's something we want to keep in mind. We also have this detail here which we want to implement, etc., etc. So that's why it's always good to reference images. Okay, having said that, now let's continue on. So what we want to do is actually get rid of this guy here, because we are not cutting the geometry anymore. We can also just get rid of this guy here. It's going to be a little messy now, I will agree to that. but it's fine. It's okay. So we're gonna do an array linear. We're gonna take, I don't know, 6 items. We have 6, should be good. And we just make a copy, and we copy one more time. So we do a copy. So now we have our 11 steps. This is not hidden anymore. We just put it to thin lines because we actually see it. Yeah, because we're on the 2nd floor now, looking down. And look at this 2 lines, put them also into thin lines. And now what we can also really do is actually, what the first thing that we did here, we can actually delete this guy. We don't need that anymore. We don't need this and this. And this we don't actually need. We can put it on hidden, if that makes any sense, and delete that. And what we want to do is just, first of all, if we stay here for a second, just take 2 lines, go to hidden, take lines, and just do some diagonal lines here. So that will indicate that actually this is a void. This is how you identify voids. And now we have those stairs here. Actually, everything is fine. We don't need this door anymore. We actually need this here. So you see this more or less just a copy paste and placing everything a little more correctly. We have this detail here. So we have to somehow define that. Of course, we could do that simply now just by using polylines. And I will go to thick. Just draw your polylines quickly. Connect that. That's good. Boom, boom, boom. We have that. Sorry, let me just quickly do that a little bit better here. So I just take these 2 lines, move them back up. So I actually see them, no? Otherwise it's a little bit difficult to see what I'm doing there. So I just take trim, and now I just join them. So they're good, and I just take that and move it up. Just to detail that, no? Because on the 2nd floor we have windows on each side. Okay, we don't have the bench. Get rid of the bench. We have that, yes, but this is a void, yes. Let's keep it actually. But what we don't have is this here, this situation, right? Actually select first of all everything, then say curve boolean, and because the wall there is closed, that's what I want to do. So I'm just going to go here, thick lines, and get this wall as one continuous, and just lock it. Get rid of everything you don't need. Like so, more or less. I had this rectangle here. I'm going to take those both and say explode them. I'm going to select those lines here because they don't make any sense for me. Delete them. This guy I take again, I join them. I put it on my thick layer. Change. I offset that by 15. So my distance is 0.15. And I do that. And now again, I have that it's locked. So I unlock that. I have that selected, and I do a trim method, just trimming off this. So this is actually continuous, and I break out and I join that. Now, I hope that was not too fast, but this is just showing me that again, I have here my light well, and this is just an opening here. And to detail that a little bit, I could go to my thin lines and just add a little bit more of detail, because in that living room there is this kind of situation, which could be, you know, cabinets or whatever you want there. Okay, let's continue on then. Now we want to actually get rid of stuff what we don't need. We don't need this here. I actually don't need that. We look at our drawings and there are no windows, so we could actually delete this guy here also. We go to thick lines and we say, okay, this wall division we don't need, so I select that little line, trim it, join it, and now I could just do 2 lines quickly, here and here. Again, I use my curve boolean. I really like this one. I select everything, press enter, and I go inside and just create this nice line. Just say lock for the curve that I just selected, delete, unlock. Okay, now we just cleaned up more or less this information, and now we can continue on to actually model. Now, one thing that we have to take into account is that this wall is not there also. So I'm just going to do my line here and trim this off. Okay, it's going to join, And now we are ready to actually module the center courtyard situation here, and the other ones are more or less defined then by themselves almost. Okay, so I'm just going to save again, and let's continue on. Okay, so let's model up the bridge now, and the bridge is actually quite simple to do, but it's the most prominent thing, so we should start with that probably. We take two rectangles, we go to thin lines, and now what we want to do is start from our frame here and go to our intersection, basically till the frame, and that's the first balustrade of the bridge. And we do the same thing starting from our frame here, and we go to here, to this line where it's flushed to the stairs. And what we want to do is actually take those points and move them 10 centimeters more to the left. So we do that, and that is because we also have this little detail here, which is this guy, just a transition from the stairs to the upper bridge, which is done in that way. So now we just select that, and we make sure that we have only our rectangle. So I lock this rectangle, I lock this rectangle, and I delete everything that I don't need, like so. And now what we also have are those, so I unlock it again, and what we have here is actually quite correct. So we have those lines, which is a little bit more detailed, let's say, but this guy we also have on the other side. So I'm just going to mirror it, and now I don't have that add line here, so I'm just going to have to construct a line guideline here. So I'm just going to take this and say mirror, and now I have that on the other side also. And I actually also have those glass partitions on the other side, so I'm just going to take that and mirror them also. Yeah, but they are a little bit different, so I have to do that again, redo that basically, and I will just leave that here for a second. And they are different in a sense that if I look at my picture here, you can see how Tadao Ando basically solved this detail, right? He has this double framing, as I would say. He has this little slit frame, and then it has this glass partitions. So you want to model it up the same way, kind of, yeah? So we have the door. From that, we have this little glass partition, which is the size of this balustrade, and then we have the bigger frames. So that's what we want to do. And we will just go here, actually, take our block, and what we want to do is actually explode the block, right? So I'm just going to take those two guys and say, or I'm just going to concentrate on one. Delete this guy, actually. Take this and explode. Go to Windows, make sure that you're on the master Windows. Take that lines here, this guy here, and say pawn. Just take the pawns and move them from the end frame to the balustrade flush. So it's flush with the balustrade end here. And now we reposition just the point to the mid of this guy. And then what we also want to do is take these 4 lines and just copy them here, select them, and use the pawn method, trim method, whatever. I'm going to take the pawn method, move those points to here. So we have a double glazing, let's say. Yeah, I'm going to select all of them. Not that guy. You could, but let's not. And say block. Take the base point that I've defined, and then I'm going to say 2D glass 2D glass wall floor plan second level, you know, whatever the naming is that you feel comfortable, which makes sense to you. You have to understand it in the end. So that's it. And now I'm just going to mirror that to the other side, and I'm going to take that and actually mirror it to the other side symmetrically as shown here. Now we are actually quite good to go. As you can see, this detail is actually also here, so on the other side. So I'm just going to copy that, and sorry, where am I? So I'm just going to copy that here and just move it to be placed And that's me just guessing now how this is done. So I hope it's not super wrong. And we're just gonna quickly join those two guys so they are one. It's basically this detail here, as you can see. This is how it's been modeled. Okay, so actually we're quite good to go. Now we have more or less the whole thing drawn, this section. So another thing that he's done is this arc-like carved out space that is quite interesting. So that's something we want to add as a detail. And it's quite simple. We go to thin lines and we just take an arc and we take the frames and this base points as a center or a guide, let's say, and we just draw two arcs quickly. And that is just a space that is more or less level to the bridge, but then you have to step up to get actually in the living room, right? And now to be super efficient, we just copy that. And well, in a nutshell, there you go. Those are the two floor plans that we need to actually draw for our Tadao Ando house. And now we can continue on with the sections. Now we could also go to annotations and quickly just start to write text, right? That's something I will start now and you can continue on. So I would just go here to text, write text. So I'm just quickly going to do it for the courtyard, let's say. I say courtyard. And just going to place it there. And then what I want to do is actually just scale it with the gumball. And as you can see, it looks like it's scaling 1D, but it's actually scaling 2D, which is quite neat. And you can just write courtyard there and then just copy that and keep on, then double click on this guy and then say living. And that's up to you how you want to define that. And you can scale them back up. You can say here kitchen or dining, whatever you feel more comfortable with. Just make sure that they all are like a coherent pattern. So, scale that guy up, maybe scale that guy back down and move it, and just add on little details to that until you get to where I was there. And yeah, I will just continue on to annotate them, and then we will start with the section. Okay, before we go through the sections, just two things to add. I have now annotated everything with my text. You should have done the same thing. And I want to do two things quickly before we go to the sections. One is actually add another feature that we didn't cover so far. And that is also that there's a void or an opening, let's say, on the second floor on this side of the bedroom. So just quickly also make sure that you just copy that to the mid and just move it inside. It's about the same kind of dimension. You can see it here in the section. This is light well where it actually comes down here. And that is it. And now we actually want to test something. We want to scale this picture that we have imported. That's the first thing that we did. We want to scale it to the same size as our floor plans and just check if we have kind of the same proportions. Now that I will just do with scale, and I'll make sure, or what I want to do first is I want to take distance and measure my distance from that point to that outer point of my wall. Now I have a distance of 3 meters and 3.45 meters. And that's the scaling factor that I'm going to use now. I'm going to select my picture. I'm going to go type in scale, not scale 1D. Going to try to catch that end of my wall here and that end of the wall here, more or less the best way you can do actually. And then just type in 3.45. Enter. Now you have scaled your drawing to fit more or less the precise dimensions. And I can now test it if I just move, and I didn't actually do that before, so I hope everything is correct now. So I just move it to my location here, and you can see it's actually quite good, I would say. Yeah, for a very coarse drawing that we have here, we are actually not that far away off, I would say. Yeah, so that's super. Now we can actually continue on. Hey, thank you for watching this video. If you like the content, please give me a thumbs up and subscribe to my YouTube channel. And also please check out my new online learning platform, designupgrade.thinkofic.com. Here you can watch half of the content for free. Just sign up and you will find the content nicely structured. So thank you very much, and I hope you made some design upgrades.